Welcome back to the channel, everybody. And on this episode, we have a very good guest by the name of Saul Sell Stuff. Saul, how are you doing, my man? Want to thank you for being on, this channel on this episode and just really,
Yeah,
here to chop it up, really. So, Saul, if you don't mind me asking you, what's your background? Like, how did you get started with Amazon? And you just, take us back to the very beginning of how that process looked for you.
sure. So I will preface by saying that I feel young, but I feel like in the Amazon space I'm old. So I'll be 31 this year. And I started on Amazon in 2017. So I was like 23, 22, 23 years old. I essentially graduated high school and then had to work full time. So I didn't, I didn't go to a standard college, went to community college, but I had to just based on my family situation, I had to immediately start making an income.
Right.
And so for that reason, I know I was fortunate. I made $7.25 an hour. It was lovely at the time, and then I
Yeah.
worked my way up to $9 an hour, and then $15 an hour. And so by the time I was in my early 20s, I had kind of become, let's call it, middle management. But I had kind of peaked where I could be because I didn't have that college degree. So the job above me, they weren't going to give it to me ever because they required a degree. And I was in this situation at 22 where I was managing 15 to 20 people. I worked at like a fairly large like healthcare facility, and so we always had to have someone on staff, and it was a job where I was constantly taking work home with me, and I was always stressed.
Right.
Um, and I was like, there has to be a better way. And also, like I saw my parents go through a lot. I didn't want to rely on just one income, and so I started Googling and reading blogs. And I think I started the same way a lot of us start, which is like flipping used books. I
Mhm.
saw like, hey, you could sell used books on Amazon. That was super cheap. So I started going to thrift stores, Goodwills. I was buying clothes for eBay and books for Amazon. And I did that for a while until I realized like retail arbitrage and online arbitrage where new goods could happen. And so I started doing that. I started making more than I was at my full-time job. And at the time, I think full-time I was making about 60,000 a year, like 55,000 a year. Um, and I was just kind of I was just tired. I was young, but I was just so tired. And so me and my girlfriend lived in an apartment at the time. I had about it was like $1,300 in rent, and so maybe overall I need like $1,800 a month to live. And so I went full time in Amazon in 20 when like end of 2018, early 2019. And I'll be the first to say I failed. Uh, I
But
I think like a lot of people think they can run a manage their time super well. Like I think there's always a sense of like, oh man, I work full time and I do Amazon. If I didn't work full time, I could just use all
uh,
the energy and source and I would just blow up. But it sucks when at least for me, I just didn't understand time management well enough. I couldn't organize my time. I was like, yeah, I was just not being efficient. And a lot of the money I started making was just going back into bills, back into rent. And you realize you need a constant flow of more income than you think you need to be able to reinvest in inventory, right? Because of the turn rate. And so in 2019, I went back and got a job. I went and got a sales job in order to help pay the bills. And I did that with Amazon. I also went back to school. So I graduated with my degree. And then in 2020, I pivoted. I actually ended up being fortunate to leave that job. Amazon started to make more sense to me. Like I got to the point in Amazon where I was saying, okay, now I have enough money where I can reinvest in inventory and pay my bills. Like I understood what was needed of me at that point. I partnered with a different company in Shopify space. So we launched a Shopify brand. And I've essentially just been doing that ever since. So in early 2020, um, that is kind of what happened in my life, and it's been growing ever since in 2024 now. In 2019, we started a support group, like a free support group for Amazon sellers because we were like, Amazon's super confusing, and we really just started for
yeah.
friends and family. And that turned into the Buy Box, which is the group I run now, which is like is a paid community, but really based on offering support and tools and things. And then been fortunate to build a bunch of like really cool SaaS tools for Amazon between now and then. And so that's kind of what I do. And 2024 now I still do Amazon. I have a warehouse, but I also still do Shopify and have another business there. And then of course I get to run the community and build tools. And it's been a long journey, but I'm happy I'm happy I'm here now.
Wow. Yeah, you definitely got a lot going on now in 2024 from what it seems. So that's freaking
Yeah.
awesome, man. Uh,
I
wow.
appreciate
Okay.
that.
So a lot of to unpack right there. And one thing that stuck out to me was what you said in the beginning. You said you were working at a job that you basically were, working your way up, but which is funny because you had all this experience, all this knowledge, but yet a piece of paper is what held you back from
Yeah.
moving up in the next level. Uh, I mean, that's just crazy, that some companies function like that when they know someone like you had, just the
Oh, it's
experience. Like,
it's ridiculous. And like the people above me, I think they said they wanted to, but it was a lot of like cat and mouse. For years I was asking for more and they were like, "Yeah, we'll give it to you, we'll give it to you." And then like, it became really obvious they were never going to do that.
right.
And I think, I mean, looking back, it was for the best. Like if they had promoted me, would I be here right now talking to you? Probably not.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that they did save me in the long run. I talked to Joey the other day. Shout out Joey Wheeler on Twitter, and he was telling us that his company fired him because he sold on Amazon, and
Wow.
they thought it was a conflict of interest. So like I think it's crazy that sometimes people are they forget that we're humans. Like
Yeah.
they think so much about like what the rules say and what someone else somewhere else in the world wrote down on a piece of paper that they have to then abide by, that they get sucked into that and they forget to take a step back and be like, hey, you're a human, I'm a human, you can do great at this,
Yeah.
you can whatever, and so we're going to let you just kind of live your life. um it's a shame, but it happens.
Yeah, no doubt. And being as an entrepreneur yourself now, I mean, I bet you feel just like the freedom, just everything now compared to, being tied down at a job.
Yeah, I mean it's pros and cons, right? I mean, as you know,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about your background, and I'm sure you've talked about it on your other episodes. But I mean, I think I try really, really, really hard to remember what it was like because I don't want to get stuck in like this is my life and this is just like how it's supposed to be, and like I want to remember what it was like to have to go to work at 5 a.m. I
Right.
want to remember what it was like to be like a beautiful day and not be able to go outside, and so I try so hard to hold on to that so I can feel appreciation.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, because sometimes if you forget those moments, they just like, get you too comfortable, I guess you could say, in
Yeah,
retrospect. But you had mentioned that you did this Amazon thing full time in what, 2019, I believe you said.
yeah, late 2018, early 2019, somewhere in there.
And you say you kind of, failed at, in
Yeah.
that first try. So, that's actually a great point I want to touch on a bit if you don't mind. But was this due to like cash flow issues and whatnot, or like were you still in
Yeah,
that? How did that
I
go?
think it was two parts. I think it was cash flow for sure. I didn't really understand what was how much cash I actually need to bring in every month
Yeah.
to sustain my life and also grow. Um, and then part of it, as I said, was time management. I think as soon as you don't have to do something, you don't have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
It's up to you to make it happen. And some people just have that, and it's a skill that you can learn. But at the time, I thought I had it, and I just didn't. I could do it some days, but I got complacent, I think.
Mm.
And as we know, like Amazon's a business of compounding. And
Yeah.
so if you take today off, sure, it won't hurt your selling today, but it's going to hurt you in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And so that's what started to happen.
Yeah. No, yeah, no doubt. And I'll be honest, I went through something similar back when I quit like my job for Amazon as well, where I was starting to have a bit of issues because, like you mentioned, you realize you need more than what you actually think you're bringing in. So,
Yeah.
I mean, luckily at that time, my job, I mean, it was not that much. So I kind of quit going based on how much profit I was making. But yeah, I mean, if you don't have
Okay.
extra income coming in, uh, and you're not careful with your cash flow, it's really gonna kind of mess you up there if you're not careful with what you're doing. So,
Yeah. And I mean, the inventory turns too. I see a lot of people on Twitter, or social media, like, hey, you can make $3,000 a month. You just buy, 30% ROI, spend 10 grand, you'll make three. And it's like, in theory, that's true, but you're never going to spend 10 grand on the first of a month and have that 13 returned to you on the last of the month. Like, it's going to take longer than that.
yeah.
So if you want to make 3 grand, really you got to spend 15 because it's going to take, or even 20, if you're turning your inventory 6 or 9 times a year, you got to build that in. I think that there's this gap in that education that we see online.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, nobody really talks about that, which is very important. Like, I think you could probably agree that if you're living on a $4,000 monthly wage at a job and you're trying to do Amazon full time, it'd probably be in your best interest to shoot for at least $8,000, basically double
I would
your
agree.
take home salary in order to mitigate a lot of the risk in that aspect, right?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, then you have other things as being self-employed, insurance,
Yeah.
things like that. I mean, me and my wife, I pay $1,000 a month for
Wow.
insurance.
That's great. Just
So
you two?
I mean, just us two.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, health insurance, the taxes that they don't talk about either.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. So I, I think if you can work full time or work a job and do Amazon, it's a cheat code. Like
Yeah,
we talked, the longer you can keep your profit in the business to scale, the faster you're going to get to whatever it is that you want to do. And I also think it's super important to talk about that some people will never quit, and that is totally okay.
yeah,
Starting Amazon because you want to make a side income to pay off your car or your student loans or save for a house is totally respectful. And if you're doing that, if we I love like making $20 extra a day. Like honestly, $600 a month is so big for so many
yeah.
people.
Oh yeah,
And if you can make $600 a month while working full time, I mean, that sets you up to either have an $8,000 savings in the end of the year or pay off your car. That's maybe all you need. And if you can do that, if that's your goal, you are a legend. Like you have nailed it. And no one should make you feel bad because you want to work a 9 to 5 or you don't want to quit your job. Um, yeah, I think that's also a rhetoric that we see online a little bit too often,
oh
where it's
yeah,
like if you're not doing $100,000 a month, you're kind of failing at the business,
yeah, yeah. Social media can definitely be on some different type of stuff on there. And yeah, I mean, if you want to work full time and still just do this on the side, I mean, there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. I know a seller, shout out to David. He has a full-time job and he's doing 7 figures a year just doing it part-time. So I mean, it's crazy what you can do, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can certainly get there. There's a good chunk of people that do it, but they didn't, right? I think the reality is they didn't do it year one, most likely. Some of them did, but most people, it takes time,
Right.
like anything else. And so you gotta, I mean, my story, I know some people get there faster than me, but if you look back at my story, it took me probably 3 years before I was really able to make it work the way I wanted to for my life.
Yeah, no doubt. Even same here for me too. It took me a while as well, but and that's what I preach to people too, is like when you look at the people who do scale very fast within like year one or something, you have to take into consideration, number one, this person either, managed to save a lot of money or has access to a ton of credit card, capital.
Mhm.
So which probably exempts like 80% of people who are being honest. I mean, not everybody has like 20,000 to start a business with, right? Uh,
Sure.
and number two, I mean, if they did start with low, chances are they managed to open next credit cards with very high limits. And so,
It's a lot
I
of
mean,
leverage happening.
yeah, a lot of leverage. So, I mean, if you
Yeah.
don't have that type of leverage, I mean, it's gonna take you longer. I mean, realistically,
Yeah. Which is
which,
perfectly fine.
yeah,
Right? Yeah. Yeah. I think it's important that more people talk about that though, that it's
yeah,
okay.
no, yeah, no doubt. And yeah, I mean, it's okay because if this is something you enjoy doing, you could see yourself doing in the future. I mean, why wouldn't you keep doing it just because you didn't hit a million right away, right?
Yeah. And I still love the book model. I mean, if someone is starting out and they have very little cash, there's still money being made at the thrift stores.
Yeah,
And it doesn't have to be just thrift stores. I mean, at the end we were doing like library sales, we were buying from recyclers, we were posting on Facebook Marketplace. There's lots of like clever ways to get really, really cheap inventory
yeah,
to build up that nest egg to then reinvest in
yeah, for
retail
sure.
arbitrage or other arbitrage.
Oh yeah, for sure. So if you don't mind me asking, like, what's your current business model looking like right now? Is it like all OA, some RA, or how does that look right now in 2024?
I do, and then if anyone that looks at my Twitter, you'll see this. I do a substantial amount of A2A.
You do it.
So, right, that's buying from Amazon. There's a number of reasons why you could do that profitably. So you buy directly from Amazon, then you prep it, and then you send it back in and sell it on Amazon. And I do like 65% of my business is A2A.
Oh, yeah.
And then probably 25% is OA. And a lot of the OA comes from the A2A because we just track down other retailers selling those products. And then 10% is RA. And I think RA is probably more strategic timing, December,
Yeah.
July, November, like certain times where I know it's going to be good. And over the years, I've built relationships with managers. Sometimes they'll just text me and I'll go grab stuff. When I first started, it was probably 75% RA, just because like I had more time than money.
Yeah.
And so I think RA is really good for that. But yeah, A2A probably since like 2020, 2021 has been a really large part of my business. And we've built some really cool tools. That's what I was talking about. And I won't push anything here, but like we built some cool stuff to help with that. I'm a big fan of like using what you have. So like if anyone's listening, Keep is like kind of the number one tool that you need for Amazon in general. And if
Yeah.
you're already paying for it, you have a tool that you can use for A2A that you already have. Like you shouldn't pay any more money until you figured out A2A.
Mhm.
Um, and you can just use Keepa for that.
Keepa. Yep. Definitely. Uh, what's the goals going forward? Is it like you think of getting into wholesale, private label, or anything, or just sticking with the way?
I I don't know. I don't. So, I don't want a $10 million Amazon business.
Right.
I have what my parameters are, like what I want out of Amazon. Um, Doing what I'm doing is really good margin. I could see myself dipping into wholesale a bit. So the other business that I said I run, is a direct to consumer brand. And so we sell on Amazon. Amazon's a very, very, very small portion of our business. We do a few million a year on Shopify.
Wow.
And um, I have built some relationships through that, which I have been tempted to like kind of tap into for wholesale and be like, hey, like, other brands in our space and kind of other partners and potentially working with them. I also have a person in that company that wants to do private label. So like potentially would partner with him to do like a kind of an offshoot just for Amazon brand. But I think for me personally, like the one that I run, kind of me and my wife run for Amazon solely, it's probably going to stay mainly like OA, RA, A2A. Yeah, it's extra money. Like I tweet about this recently. Like I pay myself $9,500 a month. That is my income that I pay myself from all my businesses.
Right.
Um, and I paid myself that for a couple of years. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And so any extra money that we make outside of that just stays in the business. And so for Amazon, that means most of the Amazon money stays in the business. Which means like I really don't need to do more than 25 to $35,000 a month in profit. Um, and if I get there, cool. If I can, if I get to 50, great. But I guess my personal Amazon goals are not to do, 5 million and make $1 million a year on Amazon.
Yeah. No, yeah, that makes sense. Especially if you have like a decent Shopify store going on over there. I mean, it's not like you're killing it with that for sure. So
Yeah, I mean, and there's partners in every business. Like I love partners. Um, that's something too. I mean, I think obviously for Amazon's the only one. It's just me and my wife for Amazon, but everything else I do, the buy box, the Shopify, the SaaS tools, they all have partners. And I
oh
think
yeah.
that's you find the right people. I think it's important because it really gets you to the finish line even faster than if you were doing it yourself.
Yeah, definitely, man. Two heads are better than one, like they say.
Yeah, some of them like the Shopify one. There's three of us. Um, the buy box is three of us. One of the SaaS tools, there's five of us. So like I think it's really, yeah. If people have different strengths, um, then they all bring it to the table and they're all aligned on the same end goal. Like it's so nice to crush. And there's some downsides to partnerships. I think mainly you don't want to assume that there's complacency that happens sometimes. Like if you
Right.
have a partner and you're like, oh, my partner's going to do that, and they're like, oh, you're going to do that, then no one does it. So you have to have that communication. But I love a good partnership.
Yeah, definitely. That's good though. I mean, yeah, you got like I said, multiple businesses running. They're obviously working, and if you're partnered up with people, I mean, yeah, why not keep doing it right?
Yeah, and a lot of that came from just honestly, two of them launched because of Twitter. So I think just being out there and just like being present in a community. I don't think that you need to network to be successful. I didn't really talk on Twitter until 2023. Um, and so like and by then I had already built a successful Amazon business for me at least. So I don't think it's required, but I do think it helps if that's the type of person that you are. Just, you know, be honest, be your true self, and people similar to you will find you. It's
Yeah.
not about numbers. It's not about like how many followers can you get, how many impressions can you get. It's just finding that like one or two people. I've seen people with 200 followers that find five clients. They're selling whatever they're selling, and they just like it brings in an extra whatever $100,000 a year from 200 followers because those are the right 200 people.
Right.
So
Yeah. Like they say, niche down on your audience or something like that. And yeah,
yeah,
sounds
yeah,
right.
just be yourself. It's cool. It can be overwhelming too. I mean, I know you're on there.
Yeah, it can get overwhelming, especially if you're on multiple platforms. Are you just on Twitter X or
I'm just Twitter X. I was actually having a conversation this morning with someone by Instagram. It's like really not my cup of tea. I asked my wife today, I was like, could you maybe I'll launch an Instagram and she'll just repost my Twitter content. So like she can manage that.
yeah?
Um, but I can only do one. I mean, then one is already too much for me.
Oh, dude. Yeah, after one it gets difficult. Like because I know I do like YouTube, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah, YouTube is all. I mean, I'm super interested in YouTube. I think you crush it. Like I love your content. Um,
No,
and I
thanks.
know there's some other people in the space that do like a good job. And I make videos like Zoom videos, and I record them for our group. Um, and oftentimes I'm like, I think what holds it back on YouTube is the editing. I have no interest in the editing. So it's for me, it would have to
Oh,
be a lot of one takes.
yeah. Me neither. Like I tried doing all that stuff by myself back then, but I just hired a VA to do it for me, honestly. It's just much better.
That's it's like what I might need to do. Um, we'll see. I think 2024, I would like to try YouTube at least a little bit.
Yeah, go for it, man. I mean, you never know, someone out there might
It's fun.
enjoy it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. You just reach one person and life is good. It's all, I mean, I think, yeah, I don't consider, I don't know, I assume that you feel the same. Like, I don't consider myself an influencer or a guru or anything like that. I'm just a guy trying to help other people because I live the life that they're probably living right now. And I
Yeah.
just want them to ideally reach whatever goals they want. Again, it doesn't have to be quitting their job. And that's why while we like do have some paid stuff, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll like I've posted I think 3 or 4 links ever to like go pay me money. Like 99% of my stuff is just like here's free content, here's stuff that's gonna help you, and then I don't have a pitch at the end. It's purely just and I because that's what helped me when I started, and so that's all I want. I just want to yeah, you just want to help people. You just want to educate. Like there's so
Yeah.
much to go around. It's blue ocean. Anyone that says Amazon's saturated, like it's a too narrow a mindset.
Yeah, definitely. There's plenty of space in this game right now. And just because you see a few people who jump on so many listings, some of them really do end up quitting anyway. So it's not like,
There's so many people quit, and like so many people don't take action,
yeah,
right? Like your videos probably together you get thousands of views, right? Like if you take your whole catalog, probably have thousands and thousands of people that have watched your content. I bet you what 1%, 2% have actually gone through and like
done
done
it.
something. Like it's
Yeah.
such a small percentage. Um, and I was just talking about this recently where, there are over 100,000 sellers on Amazon, and we think about listings getting like tanked or bricked. Um, and it's so funny because you look at a listing that has 40 sellers and you're like, oh man, that listing is tanking. That's it's just like it's 40 people. It's like such a small percent, like 40 people in the world and the billions of people in the world are on this listing and we're like, oh, this is too many. It's just so crazy to think that we think 40 is a big number, but yet there's hundreds of thousands of people that are selling and there's millions of people that are buying. And then of those 40 people, only like 10 are actually competitive on
Yeah.
price. And people are like, it's saturated. I'm like, man, I've been on listings with 500 people and sold. Like it's I mean, it's a lot, but when people ignore listings because there's more than 10 people on it, I think it's crazy that we think 10 people is a lot when there's hundreds of millions of people that buy on Amazon.
That's wholesale right there. 10 people is too many in wholesale.
Yeah, right. Like that's just a concept. And I understand like when you have thousands of units, 10 people can like monopolize a listing.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that are doing Amazon are doing some level of arbitrage. And if there's 10 people on the listing, but all of them have like 4 units, I mean, it's yeah, it's just crazy. The mindset is nuts to me.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess that's something that newer sellers don't realize either, right? It's like, holy crap, if I don't check the unit stock, then I really don't know how much I'm really competing with or even the pricing. Because all you see is that offer
Yeah.
count and you just get scared away by the offer count. You don't even,
No, you totally like blindside. Yeah, like, you put your blinders on. I think another one is like when Amazon's on the listing.
yeah.
Right, I'm a big fan of competing with Amazon. I think half my listings I'm on with Amazon, and as long as you match, like I've always rotated in to the buy box. I've always sold with Amazon. Um, and people really, really rely on the buy box data on Keepa, which is super flawed. And we don't have enough time in this day to talk about kind of Keepa as a whole. But I would just say like don't solely rely on the Keepa statistics when you make your decision. I think they're great and you need to look at Keepa, but there's a lot of like gaps in their information. Um, and so yeah, it's like just because Amazon's not listing, like does not mean that you should ignore it. And you're probably leaving money on the table if you do.
Yeah, I know because I know sometimes I'll be honest, I skip some listings with Amazon. I'm just like if they got 100% of the buy box, I'm not even gonna bother with that.
Listen, I mean I mean obviously you figured out a platform that works for you, the model that works for you, and you're making
Right.
money. I would push you to like try one of those listings and just see how it goes. And maybe you have, and that's why you're doing it. But the buy box data, yeah, like it's just there's so many gaps in the buy box data that Amazon probably doesn't have 100%, but we're just seeing that they do.
Yeah.
Um, and so and the more people that believe that, the easier it is for me to sell in those listings and not have competition. But at the same time, I want everyone to make money. So like it's okay if Amazon's selling.
Like a double-edged type of thing, really.
It's okay. Like I've been talking about how to sell on Amazon now for 5 years. I've been talking, I teach people how to do A2A the exact way that I do A2A. Like I give them the same tools, I show them exactly how I do it, and I still spend thousands of dollars a day in HOA. Like I don't fit like if I was like I know that most people are not going to take action. And I know the people that do like are going to have like they're going to skip listings that I want to buy and vice versa. They're going to be gated things that I'm not. Like it's yeah, it's just create like there's no reason to hold all of that close to the chest. Like I give it all out for free. Um, there's enough for everyone. I'm gonna spend probably more money than most people on A2A, and that's just that's how I'm gonna win. But
Yeah.
it's like I'm not too worried about the competition.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but, I mean, that's just the game, right? Ebbs and flows. It's just part of the business, really.
Yeah.
So,
If I had a killer wholesaler, I probably wouldn't give that out.
yeah.
But like that's probably like the one thing like I don't give out our manufacturer for like our D2C product. Like we won't talk about that because like eh, finding the right manufacturer that you can trust is very difficult and very expensive. And it's very easy to get knocked off if you like give that out. But and then like yeah, really really great like a single wholesaler that like maybe is really maybe I would hold that. But everything else is pretty open game.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. So, I mentioned earlier that you, I guess, have created your own like SaaS tools within the Amazon business. You mind speaking on that a
Mhm.
bit, just to, tell the audience what some of those tools are, how much they are, if
Sure.
they're
Yeah,
available.
if you're comfortable with that, yeah. So we have two, one that's fully out, and one that's in beta. So the one that's fully launched, we launched it in collaboration with a couple other sellers. I got out of my partners. And one of them your audience might know is Christopher Grant,
Hmm.
Clear the Shelf on Twitter. So we launched Storefront Stalker Pro. And that is a tool that helps people reverse source other sellers. So like what a strategy that a lot of sellers like to do is look at what other people are selling, especially arbitrage, and be like, oh, this person is selling that. I wonder if I could also find that, and then go try to track down their source. People have been doing this for hundreds, thousands of years. Like this is nothing new, like in the world of business. And Amazon sellers in particular have been doing this since the inception of FBA. And there's other tools that do this. And there are lots of options for people, and I think they should explore what's best for them. We really like ours, obviously. And so what it does is, it's a tool that you log into. It's a web app. It's in the cloud. The cheapest plan is $60 a month, and you input seller store IDs. So you go on Amazon. Ideally, you look at stores that are selling the same kind of products as you. So anyone listening to this, let's say you like to source video games from GameStop. Great. You're going to go to one of your listings. You're going to find other sellers on that listing that also sell video games that look like arbitrage sellers. You'll take their seller ID, you'll pop it in Store Stalker Pro, and then every few hours, it's going to update you automatically with new listings that that seller has
Wow.
uploaded. So it's going to tell you like right, on your screen. It's also going to send you an email, and it's going to be like, hey, this seller listed this, this seller listed this, and then we're also going to give you all the data that Keepa gives you, so you don't have to like decide if it's a good buy or not. And then a couple really easy ways to track that product down with some quick links, Google image search, Google, SaaS, all of that. And so that's that we launched in November of 2023. So it's pretty new. We have different plans, but the cheapest being 60, and all the plan differences are is how many sellers you can stock at once. So some people want to stock only 10, which is fine. Other people want to do 40, and they can do that. And you can, storefrontstalkerpro.com is where you can find that, or you can, look at my Twitter to see the name. The second one is kind of like a version 2 of the A2A tool. So in 2020, we launched a A2A product specifically for the buy box, which was like the first that I had ever seen publicly, A2A scanner. So instead of having to go on Keepa or other places to look for A2A products to flip, we pull all that data in, we look at it all ourselves, and then we automate it and send it to the user. So there's tens of thousands of A2A listings that just pop into their feed every day. And like, hey, here's what you can buy, here's the profit, etc. And then we built a really cool tracker so you can load your own ASINs. So Keepa has a tracker, which I'm sure people maybe know, but ours is much faster. So you load in ASINs that you want to track, and then it alerts you when they restock. And so that we've had running for 3 years. People have spent millions of dollars overall through that tool. And then we launching version 2 is in beta right now, and it's like totally redesigned. It's called Flip Alert, and it is not publicly available yet. So the goal is probably to make that public in end of March, early April, and that's going to be, I think, like somewhere between $90 and $100 a month. But there's gonna be no limit, so it'll be the same thing. You can like monitor as many ASINs as you want. We've had some people monitor 10,000 products. It'll also give you a full scan list of like all of the new products coming in for A2A. It'll also allow you to monitor retailers like Target and Walmart and GameStop and all of those. And it's all very private. Like that's the big thing for us. Like we want you to be able to monitor products and have no one else see them.
Right.
So you're the only one that gets alerted. So that was a lot of words, and I don't, as I mentioned, I don't sell, I don't push any of these pretty hard anywhere. So yeah, what's cool is like you can do all the things I just said for free with Keepa. They're just not automated.
Hmm.
So all we do is like for people that are already finding success storefront stocking, or people that are already finding success for A2A, and they want to take it to the next level, that's what these tools exist. It
Yeah.
just makes your life easier. If you have a VA, it makes it easier because you can like give VA access, and so you don't have to be the one looking and making those buying decisions. And you get the data faster than people doing it manually. So sometimes you get to like get those products and they sell out, and you're the first one to get them. But yeah, I will never hard sell anyone on anything. I think keep as much money as you can in your business, and test tools out, but you don't need anything other than Keepa to be successful. Like that's the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of these softwares at scale are just for convenience, right? Like you said, you could do all the stuff that you guys are providing manually, but if you're a 7, 8 figure seller doing this, there's no way you want to spend all your time doing that manually. Having a software
Yeah.
free up some time is kind of the way to go, honestly.
I mean, it kind of what is your time worth, right? Like I don't Naval, I don't know if you like read his stuff, right? But he, no matter how much you're making, he wants you to put like a value on your time, and he wants it to be a really, really large. And so this is gonna sound nuts for people that are listening that haven't read him, and I think you should. It's like Naval. He is a phenomenal philosopher and businessman, and he wrote a brilliant book that's free. Um, and so he's like, you got to value your time like $500 an hour, even if you're making $10 an hour right now. Value your
Right.
time like super, super high. And if something isn't going to make you that, it may be not worth your time doing. And so that's the philosophy that I try to go with. And paying $60 or $90 a month for something, if that saves you like an hour,
Yeah.
a month, it's worth it. And the reality is it's going to save you many hours a month. Like that's most of these tools are going to save you multiple hours a month. And that's really like people that want their time back. You're buying your time.
Yeah. No, yeah, no doubt. And I'm guessing you're a big proponent of, probably having VAs run most of your business at this point.
Funny enough, so we have a lot of employees for all the other businesses. For my personal Amazon, it's just me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I have the tools that I use, but I make still all the buying. I spend anywhere from like 35 to $70,000 a month on product. And I make every buying decision and click purchase on every order.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the tools, I mean, they do make it easier for me. I source a lot from my phone. And I source a lot from my bed in the early mornings. Like I'll probably spend like anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a day before 7 a.m. because that's when I find the best deals happen. Um, and they find me because I've set up my trackers and stuff. So now I'm monitoring like I think last week it was like 5,500 ASINs for
Wow.
A2A. And so like often in the morning I just get pinged that something restocked and I buy it. And so I put in all that work up front to then not have to work as hard to source.
So I know you're kind of just already replenishing some of the stuff you already sold, and you just
Exactly.
it's almost similar to wholesale where you just do all the work up front, sourcing the
Yeah.
catalogs, and then you
And then
just
there's
yeah.
always the one off. Like today, we talked about like GameStop is running a sale right now. I know people listening are going to be too late, unfortunately, but GameStop's running a sale. I spent like 1,200 bucks this morning before this call, um, on those. So like I'll still manually source because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, a lot of times it's things that are finding me because I just put the work in already.
Yeah. Hey, to those who are watching this later, yeah, GameStop is a gold mine if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, you gotta be. They like to screw their customers a little bit, with like new versus used product. But if you can buy like pretty recent titles, they have some good. Right now, they're doing a 50% off on like 260 or 270 video games, and some of them you pay 25 on GameStop. They're selling for 50 all day on Amazon, and you'll
Wow.
make $12. So it's like 40-50% ROI. And I've always found some of those games just fly
Yeah.
for the right one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've gone through some of those myself back when I was doing video games. Yeah.
I mean, listen, you want some extra money today, man? You know where to go.
Well, I already got most of my capital tied up for a wholesale order coming soon, so yeah, but
Gotcha.
definitely.
Do
So
you do you do
yeah.
your prep or do you outsource your wholesale prep?
Yeah, so we do it in-house, but I do have workers do it all for me, so it is basically outsourced.
So I need to maybe offline. Like this is the value of asking questions and being that. So I have a warehouse. Um, I do all my own prep still. I need to hire my first like in-house. Like I've hired people for customer service roles, and I have in-house. I've never hired someone to just prep for me and to do packaging and shipping. So I would love to pick your brain on like what you look for in that person and like how you went about finding them.
Yeah, oh, you definitely should, man. I mean, it saves you just your back alone, honestly.
Yeah, it's like it's 2 to 3 hours a day right
Yeah.
now.
Oh, that's not too bad. I mean, it's because mine are like family, so I mean, I don't know if you have family like that close to
Oh,
you.
okay, you hired like local family. Yeah, I'm solo here. I live in Jersey. I'm one of one for my family here.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking about like putting it on Facebook, and just like seeing like anyone from my friend list has any friends that is looking for a role. But it's a lot. We don't ship a crazy amount because I have a prep center for a lot of the Amazon stuff.
Right.
Um, and so it's probably like 40 to 50 packages a day that we have to ship out. So it really doesn't take more than like 2-3 hours.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely try Facebook like you had mentioned. I don't know about your city, but I guarantee there's probably like a small local Facebook group for your specific like neighborhood, probably.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
probably be what your best bet right there.
I gotta do that. I was thinking like $18 an hour. I thought that would be fair.
Yeah. Yeah, considering you're in Jersey, yeah, probably
Yeah, I think minimum wage is 15
15 over there. Damn. Holy crap.
here.
I think it's still like 750 over here in Texas, I think, or nine, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was 15 when I was. I mean, yeah, so like it was 725 a decade ago, and then it just went
Yeah,
straight up.
just went up. But yeah, definitely try Facebook. I mean, as far as what to look for in a worker, I mean, prepping doesn't require much training or common sense, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, you could
I think
try
it's a
like,
trust. It's
yeah,
the
the
trust
truth.
component, right? Yeah. Because for a while at the beginning, I think I'll be there, but then at some point I want to be able to not have to go and they can go and they, we have in the warehouse we have anywhere from 500 to $700,000 worth of product in a given time. And that's it makes me nervous, right? To like just
Right.
leave someone alone. And I'm sure I'll get there and I'm sure I'll be fine. But like that, I think that's the thing for me is like trying to find the right person
Yeah. No, yeah,
that would
no
sell there.
doubt. Yeah. At the end of the day, yeah, trust matters. So, I mean, that's something that just comes with time, right? Like you end up, trusting someone else to really leave them there and whatnot. So, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be good. I don't vacation very often.
No, you should.
No, I suck at taking vacations. I think it's a holdover from when a previous life when I just like when you have staff and when I worked in that management job like we always had to have someone on staff from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. And so going on vacation was terrifying because if someone called out, like it was just very, it was a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
Um, and so I don't think I've like gotten gotten into it yet. Like being able, like knowing I can. I'm also a little cheap. Like if you get to know me more over time, you'll like I'm not cheap to the point of like I'll buy like I like to think I buy decent gifts and like experiences for other people. When it comes to myself though, like I suck at spending money. Um, and so like the idea of spending money on a vacation for myself is just really hard.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar too. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
we're
like you
similar in
want
that aspect.
to, yeah, like I don't know. Like I feel like every dollar that leaves my life right now is like it compounds. It hurts. Like I want to retire at 40. I got
Yeah,
10 years. I don't want to retire like not work for the rest of my life, but I'd like to not have to work
that's
by 40.
much. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I feel you. Yeah, like working so much later on is definitely not something I'm interested in either.
yeah, that's the goal. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
But I mean, this was a lot of fun.
yeah,
Um,
for sure. I think you're
uh,
my fourth call already. My fourth guest.
okay, lucky number four. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. So I mean, they've all been good. I mean, just hearing
I
different
s-
things, perspectives. Like
I'm excited to you had what's his does he go like grandpa
I had Grandpa Flippy on
something? Yeah.
here.
I saw like in Twitter you guys were like hyping that up. I'm excited to listen to that one.
Yeah, it was the longest one. We went like over an hour on that call. The dude can talk, man.
Yeah. So I mean if you're listening to this right now, that one's already out then, right? I mean like people should go back and
Yeah,
listen to that one.
by the time this one drops, it should already been out. I mean, at this point, I'm just waiting for my thumbnail editor to give me all the thumbnails for all the videos. So, like, I haven't even dropped the first one just because I don't have the thumbnail yet. So,
Okay. Well people go if this is your first one, I appreciate you. But go back and listen to the other three.
yeah.
Because Oscar's a wonderful human being. Like this is the first time we've had a real conversation. I'm like, I got to talk to this guy more in the future. And so I'm sure those interviews were just as good, if not, I'm sure better. This one, a lot of value
They've all
is
been good,
dropping.
man. Just learning something
Yeah.
different every conversation I'm having. So, and again, this is just something still new that I'm still messing with for my channel personally. So, I mean, if it gets some, good, what do you call it, like volume or whatever, I mean, we'll keep it going for sure. But yeah, it's good stuff, man. Like I said, I've always just want to hear other people's opinions from the typical, like, no offense, but like Scott Needham or Amazon Lit or uh most of the
I got you.
more known names out there. Like
More vocal.
let's
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think they're awesome. But I understand. Yeah. Like they're the bigger voices. You're trying to like niche down into like the smaller. And
yeah,
I appreciate that.
yeah, because I mean, especially for new beginners, right? Like they get into Amazon, they hear all the big names, but some of the bigger names kind of forget some of the stuff from the beginning. Like me, I know I have problems teaching newer people about ungating because my account is pretty seasoned to where I get
I
auto
see.
ungated and everything. So I'm just like, damn, dude, I'm not even sure if I can help you with getting ungated nowadays.
I mean, gating has gotten so much easier though. Like I'm sure you got gated years ago. Like it is Amazon's been so much more relaxed. Like I
Yeah.
remember it was so hard to get gated back then. Um, and now I mean they even added language to the ungates where they now allow you to use Amazon invoices.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
that.
so like you can just like you can just buy product on Amazon and send the receipt in and get engaged. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
It was like 2017. Oh my God. Like it was all about like EED and like these other like very known distributors because and even half the time then they wouldn't take it. There's no way they would
Yeah.
take retail receipts. But now it's like, oh yeah, we'll take Kohl's and we'll take Target and we'll
Yeah.
take all these things. And it's like I will say if anyone listening wants to get engaged or needs to get engaged in anything like outdoorsy or tools, Home Depot is awesome for because what you can do is you can open like their pro account, which is totally free, and then buy at least 10 units of whatever, and then go to the desk in Home Depot itself, and they can actually print you out an invoice because like
Wow.
from the pro account, and it looks very legit, very official, and Amazon accepts those. So if you want to go get engaged in like Milwaukee, Ryobi, like any of those brands, like Home Depot is awesome for
Yeah.
that.
And it's crazy too, right? Because if Amazon denies it, they're kind of denying that those retail stores are fake too, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing. I mean, Amazon will deny the best possible perfect invoice because it's like that's
Yeah.
also something the people will send one in, they get denied, and then they're like, oh well, I'm gonna have to try something else. And like, man, just reapply. Like
Oh
just
yeah.
send it. Like it took me like 28 times to get engaged in one brand once. Like just send it in again. It's entirely up to the person reviewing it. It has nothing to do with your voice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Some people I've seen it's like the end of the world when that happens. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, so I mean, we've been on here almost an hour ourselves actually. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, man. So, before we leave out with this conversation, what's one tip or something you could have done different when you had started your Amazon journey to someone who might be out there listening to this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it right now. We talked about the two that I would say, which is obviously it's okay to have large aspirations and large goals, but break it down to small things. Like, I validate any new business. If I can make $1,000, it's validated in my mind. And so like I don't think that you need to set out and be like, I want to make 10 grand in my first 30 days. Pick a number. Honestly, your first 30, 60 days you make no money, and that's probably
Mhm.
fine. Like you're paying Amazon tuition is what we'll call it. It's a lot cheaper than going to school. It's a lot cheaper than doing a lot of things. So pick a number, $500. Like I want to make $500 in my first 90 days. That's a very reasonable number. If you could do that, great. Do it 10 more times. Um, and don't quit just because you didn't hit it big. And then number two, you know, cash flow. We talked about that. If you can keep money in the business, taking $400 out and you make 500 will cripple you.
Oh yeah.
It takes money to make money in this business. You have to invest in inventory. It's okay to make bad buys. We hear all the time, go wide, not deep. That just means buy a lot of different products, learn how to rekeep, learn the data. Um, and if you lose money, that just means that you've learned, understand why you lost that money. Don't just chalk it up to like, oh, that was a bad buy. Like, I want you to dissect that purchase. Where did you buy it? Why did you buy it? What did keep it look like? What could you have done differently? Sometimes you'll lose money and it's just a fluke. You're like, there's really no way to avoid it. Everything looked good and something unavoidable happened. But
Yeah.
most of the time, it's because you missed something in the data that would have suggested, or maybe you like didn't hold it long enough. Sometimes you have to buy things and hold and wait for people to sell out. But there's always things to learn, good or bad, from every purchase. And so if you can do that and you can keep your money in the business, and you set achievable goals, you will stay motivated, create momentum, and you'll be fine long term.
Oh yeah. Damn. You just like dropped tons of knowledge in that last freaking minute or so. So
I'm happy to hear.
I mean, it's just real advice too, right? I mean, that's also my point in this video calls is, like you're gonna hear stuff that you really don't hear from like social media, just always talking about the good aspects, because bad things happen in this business as well. And
Mhm.
it's just part of the game. That's just part of entrepreneurship in general, not even just Amazon. So, but yeah, I mean, if you guys stick to this to the end of this thing, you just absorb so much right there. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
appreciate that. And
but
thanks for giving me the platform. Thanks for having me on. It was a true pleasure.
no, yeah, for sure, Saul. And one last thing. Oh, where can people follow you?
Yeah, so Twitter/X is really the main place, and it's at Saul Sells Stuff. Um, and I post nearly every day. Lately, it's probably been a couple times a day. And if you liked what I said here, you're going to get a lot of the same. But I also post quite a bit about A2A because again, I think that's one of the easiest methods for people who want to start. And so I try to just educate best I can on that topic.
Right, correct. And you say people can look into your software like under your bio or something, correct?
Yeah, my bio, I mentioned like the buy box, Storefront Stalker Pro, and Footballer. I mentioned all three of those, so you can find us there.
Okay, yeah. So if anybody's interested in, trying out any of the software, feel free to go check them out. I guarantee whatever, my man here drops will help your business a ton.
I appreciate that.
So, but Saul, thanks for, being a guest on our, channel here. We're looking forward to having you again down the road. And yeah, as always, take care, everybody. Hopefully you stick to the end of this episode. And that is it. On to the next one. Peace, everyone.